Reading The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Chapter 6 Acceleration. When I lived in La Jolla, California, for exercise and a test of will, I would regularly ride my bike 2 miles straight up Mount Soledad. There, were, there are very few things you can do voluntarily that cause more pain and suffering than riding a bike up a steep mountain without stopping. There is a point at which you hit the wall and come face to face with your inner true character. Suddenly, all the projections and ideas you had about yourself are stripped away, and you are left with the naked truth. Your mind starts inventing all sorts of convenient alibis on why it's okay to stop. It is then when you're faced with one of life's greatest questions, do you push through the pain or continue on? Or will you crack like a walnut and give up? Lance Armstrong was the success cover feature in June 2009. I remember watching Lance during his first Tour de France victory. The tour had entered the grueling mountain stages of the race. The other riders dismissed Lance because he had never been a renowned climber. During the third mountain ascent through freezing rain, mist, and then hail, Lance got separated from his team. He was left fighting the top climbers in the world alone. On the final ascent, 18 miles straight up into Sestri Rear, after 5.5 hours climbing mountains, and every rider was suffering. Each needed to search the depths of his stamina and self definition. Could they endure? It became a test of who could drive it became a test of who could best survive the hardships and find the strength to keep going. Who would crack and who wouldn't? With 5 miles to go, Lance was 32 seconds behind the leaders, an eternity while climbing a mountain on a bike. During a curve, Lance stood up and surged ahead until he caught the two leaders, both established world class climbers. Having expended almost everything he had in him, Lance then launched an attack and gained several lengths on the leader. He later said in his book, It's Not About the Bike, My Journey Back to Life. When you open a gap and your competitors don't respond, it tells you something. They're hurting. And when they're hurting, that is when you take them. Completely exhausted, struggling to breathe, his legs and arms burning with fatigue, Lance kept pounding the pedal. Some tried, but no one could catch him. They just didn't have it in them. At the first line, with fists pumping in the air, the unexpected contender won the stage race and ultimately the Tour de France. In this chapter, I want to talk to you about those moments of truth and how the compound effect can help you break through the new and greater levels of success faster than you ever imagined possible. When you prepared, practiced, studied, and consistently put in the required work, sooner or later, you will be presented with your own moment of truth. In that moment, you will define who you are and who you are becoming. It is in those moments where growth and improvement live. When we either stop forward or shrink back, when we climb to the top of the podium and seize the medal, or we continue to applaud sullen from the crowd for other victories. We'll also look at how you can consistently deliver more than people expect, compounding your good fortune even further. Moment of truth. There is a point in every race when a rider encounters his real opponent and understands that it's himself, writes Lance in his autobiography. In my most painful moments on the bike, I am at my most curious and I wonder each and every time how I will respond. Will I discover my innermost weaknesses or will I seek my innermost strength? When I was in real estate, I hit that wall several times a day. While driving to an expired listing property, after just getting pummeled by the last prospect, I'd start conjuring up all sorts of excuses to skip the sales call and head back to the office. While out canvassing a neighborhood, dogs would snarl at me and it looked like it might start to rain. I'd be in the midst of money time, 5 to 9 p.m., cold calling, and frequently get chewed out for interrupting someone's dinner or favorite TV show. I was sure I needed to take a break to go to the bathroom or a glass of water, but instead of quitting every time I hit one of those mental and emotional walls, I recognized that my competitors were facing the same challenges. I knew this was another moment that if I kept going, I would be strides ahead of them. These were the defining moments of success and progress. It wasn't difficult, painful, or challenging when I was just running with the herd, just keeping up, but not really getting ahead. It's not getting to the wall that counts, it's what you do after you hit the wall. Lau Halls, the famous football coach, knew it was what you did after you did your best that created victories. In one game, his team was down 42-0 at halftime. During the halftime break, Lau showed his team a dramatic highlight reel of second efforts to block, tackle, and recover the ball. He then told the players that they were not in his team because they could give all their they're all on every play. Every player on every team does that. He said they were on his team because of their ability to make the critical effort, extra effort on each play. It's the extra effort after you have done your best that is the difference maker. His team went on to win the game in the second half. This is how you win. Muhammad Ali was one of the greatest fighters of all time, not only because of his ability and agility, and speed, but also because of his strategy. On October 30th, 1974, Ali regained his heavyweight championship, besting George Foreman in one of the biggest upsets in history, boxing history, in the Rumble in the Jungle. Almost no one, not even Ali's longtime supporter, Howard Cosell, believed the former champion had a chance of winning. Both Joe Frazier and Ken Norton had beaten Ali previously, and George Foreman had knocked both of them out in only the second round. Ali's strategy to take advantage of your younger champion's weakness, his lack of staying power. Ali knew if he could get Foreman to his wall, he could then take advantage. That is when Ali came up with this tactic later termed as rope-a-dope. Ali would lean on the ropes, shielding his face, while Foreman threw hundreds of punches over 7 rounds. By the 8th round, Ali Foreman was exhausted. He was at his wall. It was then that Ali dropped Foreman with a combination of center ring. Hitting the wall isn't an obstacle, it's an opportunity. During Lance Armstrong's second attempt at winning the Tour de France, it was once again to head into the mountains. The first big climb would be where Lance had experienced a devastating crash on a wet spring day earlier the same year. The crash left him with a concussion and a broken vertebra. Now it was raining yet again. Instead of being concerned or hesitant, he said, "This is perfect attacking weather, mainly because I know the others don't like it. I believe that nobody in the world is better at suffering. It's a good day for me." He was right. Lance brought home the second victory. When conditions are great, things are easy, then there aren't any distractions. No one is interrupting, tempting. Temptations aren't luring, and nothing is disturbing your stride. That too is when most everyone else does great. It's not until situations are difficult, when problems come up and temptations is great, that you get to prove your worthiness for the progress. As Jim Rohn would say, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. When you hit the wall in your disciplines, routines, rhythms, and consistency, realize that's when you are separating yourself from your old self, scaling that wall and finding your new powerful, triumphant, and victorious self. Thank you for listening to the compound effect. I think I read very fast today. Let me know in the comments and I will slow down. I will continue to read tomorrow. Thank you.